When the mind becomes quiet, even for a single moment, something ancient and alive begins to stir within you. That is your soul. It has been waiting beneath the surface of your thoughts, untouched by time, untouched by doubt. You can hear it in the silence between your breaths, in the space before sleep, in the calm after tears. To listen to it is to return home, not to a place, but to yourself. I see you. I see the heaviness you carry in your chest. I see the confusion in your eyes. You have come here looking for answers, looking for a map, looking for someone to tell you which way to go. But I say to you, you do not need a map. You do not need another theory. You do not need more knowledge. The problem is not that you lack knowledge. The problem is that you have too much of it. Your head is so full of words, so full of noise, that you have forgotten how to hear the only voice that matters. In this talk, I will show you how to listen to the voice of your soul, not as an idea, not as a philosophy, but as a living, breathing reality. You will learn to recognize the difference between the noise of your mind, which drives you mad, and the song of your being, which brings you peace. You will discover why silence is not emptiness, but fullness. And once you learn to listen to your soul, you will no longer need to ask the world for direction, because your path will arise naturally from within. But before we go deeper, I ask you this, and be honest with yourself. When was the last time you sat simply doing nothing? No phone, no book, no television, no conversation, just you and your own presence. If you cannot remember, then you are in the right place. If you feel a resistance to that idea, then this message is exactly for you. If you are ready to stop running and start living, show your commitment right now. Go down to the comments and simply write, I am ready to listen. Let this be your first step toward yourself. You have been taught to look outward for answers. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned. Parents, teachers, priests, politicians, they all told you to look at them. Look at the books, look at the scriptures, look at the opinions of others. You have become a beggar standing with a bowl, asking everyone you meet, who am I? Where should I go? What is the purpose of my life? And they throw words into your bowl, and you collect these words, and you think this is wealth, you think this is wisdom, but it is just trash, it is just noise. The voice that knows exactly what you need has always been inside. The problem is not that life is silent. Existence is singing every moment. The trees are whispering, the rivers are singing, the stars are humming their eternal songs. The problem is not the transmission, the problem is the receiver. Your mind is too loud. You fill it with plans, fears, conversations that never end. You rehearse arguments with people who are not in the room. You worry about a future that has not happened. You regret a past that is already dead. And in all this noise, the soul's whisper is lost. But notice I say lost, not gone. It is still there, waiting like a flame that never dies. It is waiting for you to exhaust yourself. It is waiting for you to get tired of the noise. I have seen thousands of people come to me seeking clarity, asking me to show them the truth. They come with their notebooks, ready to write down my words, and I tell them, throw away your notebooks, stop seeking, start listening. The divine does not shout. Truth is not a salesman. It does not come to your door and bang on it. It waits. It is very shy. The soul is very delicate. It waits for you to be ready. And when you learn to listen, even your confusion becomes a teacher. Even your pain becomes a guide. So, in this time together, I will take you into the forgotten art of listening to your own soul. We will explore why you lost connection with it. We will look at how the mind's constant noise blinds you to its message, and how silence, awareness, and presence reopen the channel of communication. You will learn to hear the subtle language of your inner being, how it speaks through intuition, through emotion, through sudden clarity that comes when the mind steps aside. And as we go deeper, you will begin to realize something extraordinary. Your soul is not separate from existence itself. To hear your soul is to hear the voice of the whole. Most people think their soul is silent. They say to me, "Osho, I close my eyes and I hear nothing. I only hear my own thoughts." Or they say, "If my soul is speaking, why can't I understand it? Why does it not speak in English or Hindi or German?" But here is what most people completely miss. The soul has never gone silent. It is the mind that has become a marketplace. Imagine a beautiful flute player standing in the middle of a busy fish market. People are shouting, bargaining, fighting over prices, trucks are honking. The flute player is playing the most divine melody, but nobody hears it. Is the flute silent? No, the market is too loud. Your mind is that market. It has filled the house with constant noise, endless thoughts, judgments, plans, opinions, and fears. So that even when the soul tries to whisper, its voice is lost beneath the chaos. And you have lived with that noise for so long, you begin to mistake it for yourself. You think the noise is you. You think, "I am a person who worries," or "I am a person who plans." No, you are the one who is aware of the worry. You are the one who is watching the planning. But you have become identified with the noise, and because of this identification, silence feels strange to you. Have you noticed? When a moment of real silence comes, perhaps you are in nature, or perhaps for a second the traffic stops. You feel uneasy, you feel restless, you immediately reach for your phone, you turn on the radio, you ask a question just to break the silence. Why? Because silence feels threatening. Silence exposes everything the noise was hiding. If you are angry and you stay silent, the anger comes up. If you are sad and you stay silent, the sadness bubbles up. The noise is your drug. It keeps you distracted from your own reality. The modern mind has forgotten how to rest. You live surrounded by noise, and within noise, televisions, notifications, voices, opinions, so much stimulation that silence feels unnatural. You have been conditioned to fill every gap, every pause, every quiet moment with something. You are afraid of being empty. But let me tell you, unless you are empty, you cannot be filled by the divine. But silence is the home of the soul. You cannot hear the depth of the ocean while standing in a storm. The surface must become calm for the reflection to appear. The same is true for you. The soul speaks only when you are still enough to receive. This is why people run from silence. They fill their days with distractions and their nights with more noise, music, screens, conversations, because they are afraid of what they might hear if everything stopped. In silence, the mind loses control, and the mind fears that moment more than death. The mind is a control freak. It wants to manage everything. It wants to manage your life, your love, your future. But the soul cannot be managed. The soul is wild. The soul is free. And when the noise fades, truth begins to rise. And truth doesn't always comfort. At first it awakens. And waking up is not always pleasant. If you have been sleeping for a long time, the light hurts your eyes. The ego trembles before silence because silence doesn't lie. It reveals. That's why silence feels heavy to most people. It's not the silence that's heavy, it's what it's showing you. It is showing you your chains. It is showing you your falseness. You may think your thoughts are helping you understand life. You analyze, you dissect, you categorize. But in truth, your thoughts are like waves on a lake. The constant movement keeps the surface disturbed. And because the surface is disturbed, the moon's reflection cannot appear. You keep searching for the reflection of peace, love, and clarity, but the mind keeps stirring the waters. You are trying to find peace by thinking about peace. This is impossible. It is like trying to smooth the water with an iron. You will only create more disturbance. The soul has been shining all along. It is the turbulence that hides it. When the lake becomes still, the moon appears by itself. You don't have to call it, you don't have to beg for it, you don't have to do a ritual for it, you don't have to achieve it. Stillness itself is the invitation. When you begin to understand this, something subtle changes in you. You stop trying to find your soul as if it is lost somewhere out there. The soul is not lost. You are lost in the noise. Instead, you begin to quiet what is in the way. The secret is not to seek, but to soften. You cannot hear a whisper while shouting. You cannot sense truth while demanding it. And you cannot feel the divine presence while you are drowning in your own noise. Listening begins with relaxing. That is the first door. If you are following me so far, if you can feel the truth of this, I invite you to join our community of seekers. Subscribe to this channel. Do not do it for me, do it for yourself. Do it as a reminder that you are committed to quieting the noise. Click that button now and let it be a signal to the universe that you are ready to listen. Now, understand this deeply. The letting go of effort is the key. You have been taught that to achieve anything, you must fight, you must strive, you must work hard. In the world of matter, perhaps this is true. If you want to move a stone, you have to use force. But in the inner world, the laws are opposite. If you use force, you miss. If you try to hear, you will become deaf. The silence of the soul is not something you make. It is not a product. It is something you uncover when the mind stops interfering. It is always there, like the blue sky behind the clouds. The clouds come and go, but the sky does not come and go. The sky is the background. Your soul is the background. Let me ask you, have you ever sat alone and heard something beyond sound? A kind of vibration, a presence that feels alive even when nothing is happening? That is not imagination. That is awareness. That is the first touch of the soul. It is the same awareness that exists when the music stops, and yet something remains in that presence. There is no question, no answer, no struggle, only knowing. That is the space where the soul speaks. So start here, slow down. You do not have to stop your thoughts. Please do not misunderstand me. If you try to stop your thoughts, you will create a war inside. You will say, I must not think, I must not think. And that is just another thought. You cannot fight the mind with the mind. You will only make it stronger. You only need to stop chasing them. Sit quietly and just watch. Watch the thoughts come and go like clouds. Don't follow them. Don't resist them. Don't even judge them. Don't say, this is a bad thought or this is a good thought. Just say, a thought. Just stay loosely. The clouds begin to thin and light starts to appear. That light is the voice you have been missing. Not a voice of words, but of pure being. once you begin to taste this silence, something remarkable happens. You will notice that it isn't empty. It is full of meaning, full of presence, full of peace. The silence isn't the absence of something. It is the presence of everything. And the more you rest in it, the clearer the whisper of your soul becomes. At first, it may feel distant, like an echo from far away, but soon it becomes familiar, intimate, your constant companion. And when you reach that stillness, when the mind begins to quiet, a new kind of hearing opens. It's not through your ears, not through your intellect, it's through awareness itself. You don't listen to the soul, you listen as the soul. That is true listening. That is the beginning of awakening. But be warned, the mind will not give up easily. It is very cunning. It has been the master of your house for 40, 50, 60 years. It will try to deceive you. It will say, "This is boring, let's do something useful." It will say, "You are wasting time." It will bring up your grocery list. It will bring up an insult someone gave you 10 years ago. This is natural. Do not get angry at the mind. It is just doing its job. It is a machine. Just smile at it. Treat the mind like a small child throwing a tantrum. You do not hit the child, but you do not obey the child either. You just watch, and eventually the child gets tired and falls asleep. Once the surface becomes quiet, a new dimension of hearing begins, not with your ears, but with your awareness. And this is where true listening starts. When the noise begins to fade even for a moment, you start to sense something ancient and delicate is stirring beneath it. It is not a sound, it is not a thought, it is a feeling, a vibration, a knowing that cannot be explained in words. That is the beginning of hearing your soul. What I'm about to share may sound strange to the mind because the mind only understands language built from words, logic, and structure. The mind wants grammar. The mind wants definitions. But the soul doesn't speak like that. It doesn't use sentences. It doesn't care about grammar. It speaks through silence. It speaks through symbols. It speaks through sensations that arise in your being and ask to be felt rather than understood. The mind speaks in arguments. The soul speaks in resonance. The mind seeks to convince you. The soul simply shows you. Think of a time when you met someone and immediately felt, "No, this is not right." You had no logical reason. The person was smiling, they were polite, they were dressed well, but your belly, your heart said, "No." That was the soul speaking. Or perhaps you walked into a strange place and felt a sudden joy, a sudden lightness. That was the soul speaking. Every intuitive pull you have ever felt, every quiet nudge, every moment of knowing something without knowing how you know it, that is the soul's language. It may appear as a gentle warmth in your chest. It may appear as a quiet whisper that says, "Wait," when you are rushing, or as a subtle unease that tells you something is wrong, even when everything looks fine on the surface. The problem is not that the soul is quiet, it is that you have stopped trusting its softness. You live in a world that values hardness, hard facts, hard logic, hard evidence. You've learned to trust only noise. You listen to reason, to opinions, to logic, to others. You say, "But the experts say this," or "But my father said that." Who is this father? Who are these experts? Are they living in bliss? Are their eyes shining with the divine? If not, why are you listening to them? They are just as lost as you are. They are just stumbling in the dark, bumping into furniture, and you are following them. But the soul does not shout to be heard. It waits for you to become still enough to remember its language. You were born fluent in this language. Every child is. A child feels what is true before it is told what is correct. Look at a baby. A baby has no words, but a baby knows who loves him. A baby knows who is fake. A child senses the vibration of a person's heart before hearing their words. A child follows what feels alive and turns away from what feels dead. That sensitivity, that purity is how the soul speaks. But then came fear, then came imitation, then came conditioning. You were told to be sensible, you were told to be practical, you were told to be like others. Don't be wild, they said. Don't trust your feelings, trust the rules. Slowly you stopped listening to that inner knowing. You began to live from the outside in. You learned to translate your feelings into logic, your intuition into analysis, your soul into strategy. You became a politician of your own life, always calculating, always maneuvering. The living voice within became buried under layers of noise that the world calls knowledge. You became educated, but you became stupid in the ways of existence. You gained a degree, but you lost your soul. Yet even beneath all that, the soul has never fallen silent. It keeps finding ways to reach you. It is very persistent. It loves you too much to let you go. It speaks through your dreams where logic no longer dominates. Have you noticed how vivid your dreams are? That is because the censor, the logic mind, is asleep. It speaks through coincidences that seem too meaningful to ignore. A book that arrives at the right time. A stranger's words that echo your unspoken thought. A sudden wave of peace that comes for no reason at all. You are walking down the street and suddenly, for no reason, you feel happy. The mind says, "Why are you happy?" You have bills to pay. You have problems. But the soul is just happy because it is alive. The mind dismisses these moments as accidents. It says, "Oh, that is just random." But the soul smiles because it knows there are no accidents in existence, only messages that the inattentive miss. If you begin to live with awareness, you'll start seeing that life itself is constantly communicating with you. The whole universe is a conversation. And the language is energy. The ego, of course, interrupts this communication. It's like static on a radio. It fills every frequency with its own noise, insisting that you cannot trust what you feel unless it makes sense to the mind. The ego needs control, and the soul threatens that control because the soul leads through surrender, not through calculation. The ego says, "If I can't explain it, it's not real." The soul says, "If you can feel it, that's enough." To live by the soul is to trust something invisible, something vast, something that cannot be measured. It's like sailing on an ocean without maps, guided only by the stars. To the logical mind, this looks like madness. "Where is the map?" it screams. "Where is the GPS?" But the moment you surrender, the stars begin to guide you in ways the mind could never plan. You start to move with the current, not against it. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a man who has forgotten how to read. Once he loved poetry. Words moved him, tears would come to his eyes. But over time, he became busy with business, with money, with politics. He forgot the alphabet, and now the books in his house mean nothing to him. They are just paper and ink. He stares at the pages but sees only black marks. Then one day, a single word begins to stir a faint memory. He sounds it out slowly, awkwardly. Lel, lo, love, and something awakens in him. A recognition, a connection, a pulse of joy. That one word opens the door to the next, and the next, until he begins to read again. not with the intellect, but with the heart. Your soul is like that. You have forgotten its alphabet. You have forgotten the language of silence, but the memory is not lost. It is just covered in dust. The first time you feel a quiet knowing, a deep resonance, it is the first word returning. And soon, if you nurture it, the whole language begins to flow again. To understand the language of the soul, you must listen with innocence. This is crucial. Don't analyze, don't dissect, don't demand meaning. Don't say, "What does this mean? Is this useful? Will this make me money?" Just be open like a child watching rainfall for the first time. Feel its rhythm, sense its presence. Let the experience wash through you without interference. The mind will always want to name it. It wants to put a label on it. This is spirituality. This is intuition. This is God. But the moment you name something, you stop seeing it. You put it in a box and you file it away. Listening to the soul means stepping beyond the need to explain and simply allowing. The more innocent you're listening, the more clearly the voice speaks. So remember this: the soul's voice doesn't come through effort. It comes through openness. When you stop trying to understand and start to feel, understanding arises naturally. When you stop searching for signs and start living in awareness, signs begin to appear everywhere. Listening is not a doing, it's an undoing. It is the art of stepping back, of creating space, of allowing existence to speak through you instead of to you. But I know you, I know the human mind. Even when you begin to recognize this language, something in you will still resist. The ego will step in, pretending to help. It will say, "Ah, yes, I heard that whisper. Now let me interpret it for you. Let me organize it. Let me turn it into a business plan." The ego tries to twist the message into what it wants, and in that translation, the meaning is lost, because the soul speaks in mystery and the ego demands certainty. There are two different frequencies, one soft like wind, the other hard like stone. And unless the stone begins to soften, the wind cannot be heard. You must become soft. You must become liquid. When you start trusting the whispers, when you stop demanding proof, when you let yourself follow the faint pull of your own being, even when it doesn't make sense, that's when you begin to walk in alignment with the soul. And from that moment onward, your life begins to move with a new rhythm. This is just the beginning of the journey. We have only just opened the door. In the next part of this talk, I will show you how to distinguish the fake voice of the ego from the authentic voice of the soul, because the ego is a great imitator. It can sound very spiritual. We will go deeper into the practical ways to quiet the mind without fighting it. But for now, sit with this. Let the dust settle. Do not rush to the next moment. Be here. I have much more to say to you. The night is young and your soul is thirsty. You see, the ego is very clever. It knows you are searching for something higher. It knows you are tired of the mundane world. So it puts on a religious mask. It learns the scriptures. It learns the right words. It says, "Okay, we will be spiritual now. We will meditate harder than anyone else. We will be the champion of silence." But do you see? It is still the same ambition. It is still the same striving. The content has changed, but the container, the ego, is the same. And this is where the confusion arises. You ask, how can I distinguish them? How do I know if this voice is my soul guiding me or just my mind playing a new trick? It is a valid question. It is the question. The distinction is subtle, but it is absolute. You can feel it if you pay close attention to the quality of the energy. The mind's voice is loud. It is anxious. It is urgent. It speaks in commands. You must do this now. If you don't decide today, you will miss the opportunity. You have to fix this. What will people think? It pushes you. It feels like a whip on your back. It is always concerned with the result, with the future, with safety. It feeds on fear. Even when it pretends to be helpful, its root is fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of losing out, fear of being wrong. The soul's voice is entirely different. It is quiet, calm, and compassionate. It never rushes you. Have you ever seen nature rush? Does the rose say, I must bloom by Tuesday or I am a failure? No, the rose waits for the sun. The soul is like that. It never forces you. It speaks once gently and then it waits. This is the key. The soul waits. It has nowhere to go. It is already home. It doesn't insist. It invites. The mind screams, look at me. The soul whispers, I am here if you are ready. And when you follow the soul, even if the path looks dangerous to the mind, even if it leads you into the unknown, there is a strange peace in your heart. There is a sense of rightness, a click, as if a key has turned in a lock. You might be walking into a storm, you might be leaving a secure job, you might be ending a long relationship, and your mind is screaming, danger, danger, but your heart is humming a quiet song of freedom. That feeling, that deep, irrational peace is the language of truth. You no longer live by effort, but by guidance. You no longer push life forward. This is the great shift. Most of you are pushing the river. You are standing in the water, pushing it downstream, thinking, if I don't push, the water won't flow. How foolish! The river is already flowing. Life is already happening. Life begins to carry you when you start trusting this inner music. But to hear this music, you must face the silence. And I must be honest with you, the first encounter with silence is not peaceful. It is terrifying. You have lived in noise for so long that noise has become your security blanket. You complain about it, you say, I am so stressed, I want peace. But the moment the noise stops, you panic, you feel empty, you feel like you are disappearing. This is why when you first start to listen, when you first sit in meditation, it seems like the noise gets louder. Have you noticed this? You sit down to be quiet and suddenly your mind is a madhouse. Thoughts you haven't had in 20 years pop up. Songs start playing in your head. It feels like a marketplace on a festival day. You think, I am doing it wrong. Meditation is not for me. I have a monkey mind. No. You are not doing it wrong. You are finally becoming aware of the background noise that is always there. It was there yesterday, it was there the day before, but you were too busy engaging with it to hear the sheer volume of it. Now that you have stepped back, now that you are watching, you see the insanity of the machine. That discomfort you feel, that restlessness, that is not a sign of failure, that is withdrawal. You are an addict, you are addicted to thinking, you are addicted to worry, you are addicted to stimulation, and like any addict withdrawing from a drug, there are symptoms. The mind kicks and screams. It says, give me a problem to solve, give me a movie to watch. Don't make me sit here in this nothingness. It feels uncomfortable, as if you are missing something, as if you should be doing something. But if you can stay with it, if you can be brave enough to not run away, a miracle begins. If you breathe through it, watch without judgment, the storm begins to settle. The dust falls to the floor, and you begin to sense that silence is not the absence of sound. This is the greatest misunderstanding of humanity. You think silence is empty, you think silence is dead. No, silence is alive, it is vibrating, it is overflowing with presence. It is the womb of creation. Everything that is created comes from silence and returns to silence. The trees are whispering, the rivers are singing, the stars are humming their eternal songs. The whole existence is speaking in silence, but man has become deaf to it. Only the one who has become silent can hear it. You see, words are small cages. Truth cannot fit into them. How can you fit the ocean into a teacup? You can put a little water in the cup, but it is not the ocean. The word love is not love. The word God is not God. The soul doesn't use words because the soul is vast, endless. To hear it, you must learn a different way of listening. I want you to try something. Not later, but in your daily life. When you listen to music, don't just listen to the notes. Listen to the silence between the notes. Let me tell you a story about a musician. Imagine a man who has been playing his instrument endlessly, obsessively. He thinks the beauty lies in the notes alone. He plays faster, louder, more complex. He dazzles the audience with his speed. His fingers are a blur. He believes that mastery comes through constant action, but he is exhausted. The music has become a struggle. It has become a display of ego, not an expression of soul. Then one day, in the middle of a performance, his fingers stop. He doesn't know why. He just stops. The music halts, the audience holds its breath, and in that sudden stillness, he hears something he's never heard before. He hears the silence between the notes. He hears the music behind the music. He realizes that the silence was always there, supporting the notes, holding the melody, but his playing had drowned it out. The notes are the figure, silence is the background. Without the silence, the notes would just be noise. This is exactly what happens when you stop chasing thoughts. When you stop trying to be the thinker, the doer, the achiever. In the silence between the thoughts, you hear the real song. You hear the song of your soul. Now let me tell you something beautiful. When silence becomes your natural state, the voice of your soul is no longer a rare visitor. It does not just come on Sundays. It does not just come when you are in a temple. It becomes your constant companion. It speaks in every breath, in every glance, in every heartbeat. You begin to move differently. Have you noticed how some people move with a strange grace? They are not rushing. They are not dragging. They float. You begin to move more slowly, more consciously. You begin to speak less. This is inevitable. When you hear the truth within, you realize how many words are unnecessary. How many words are just lies, just fillers, just nervousness. But when you do speak, your words carry weight because they rise from silence, not from reaction. Even your presence changes. People feel peace around you without knowing why. You walk into a room and the temperature of the room changes. The agitation settles. You don't preach, you don't teach, you simply are, and that is enough. But here is the trap. The mind is listening to me right now, and it is taking notes. It is saying, aha, if I become silent, I will get peace. If I become silent, I will get power. If I become silent, people will respect me. Do you see the trick? The motive has entered. Most people enter silence with the motive. They meditate to get something, to find peace, to fix their mind, to escape suffering. I will meditate for 20 minutes so I can be more productive at work. This is the modern disease. You have turned meditation into a medication. You have turned the soul into a servant of the ego. This very motive becomes the obstacle. The soul cannot be bribed. You cannot make a deal with existence. I will be silent and you give me bliss. No. True listening happens when you drop every intention, every demand, every expectation. You cannot listen and desire at the same time. Desire is noise. Wanting is noise. Even wanting God is noise. Listening means total openness, a vulnerability, a surrender. The moment you want something from the silence, you've already polluted it. You have filled the empty cup with your own greed. So, how to listen? Listen not to get something. Listen because listening itself is sacred. Listen for the sheer joy of listening. Think of a flower. A flower doesn't bloom because you watch it. It doesn't bloom because you command it to open. You cannot stand in front of a rosebud and yell, "Open, I need your beauty." It will not listen. It blooms when the right conditions are met. Sunlight, water, patience. The same is true for the voice of your soul. It blooms when you stop interfering. It opens when you are not watching it with a greedy eye. It speaks when you are no longer demanding answers. That is the mystery. The less you try to hear it, the more clearly it speaks. So when you sit in silence, and I invite you to do this every day, even for 10 minutes, don't sit like a beggar waiting for a gift. Don't sit there with your begging bowl saying, "God, give me clarity. God, give me a sign." Sit like a lover waiting for the beloved. Feel the difference in that posture. The beggar is desperate. The lover is patient. The beggar feels empty. The lover feels full of anticipation. The beggar complains if the gift doesn't come. The lover enjoys the waiting itself, knowing that the beloved will come when the heart is ready. Sit as if you are already full, not empty. Listen not for something specific. Don't look for a voice that sounds like your father or your guru, but listen for the simple beauty of being. Let the silence wash over you like rain falling on thirsty earth. Just let it soak in. Don't analyze the rain. Don't catch the raindrops and count them. Just get wet. And when it does, the soul will begin to sing, not as a voice in your head, but as a vibration throughout your being. Now, before we move further, I want to ask you something. Look at your life right now. Are you chasing the rain or are you letting it fall? If you are tired of the chase, tired of the constant running, hit the like button on this video. Not for the algorithm, forget the algorithm, but as a digital act of putting down your running shoes. Let it be a small symbol of your willingness to stop. And once you begin to hear even faintly, don't analyze it. This is where 90% of people fail. They feel something, a little shimmer of peace, a little nudge of intuition, and immediately the mind jumps in like a hungry wolf. Was that real? Was that imagination? Am I making this up? That doubt is the mind creeping back in. The mind hates to lose control. It wants to dissect the butterfly to see how it flies. But if you dissect the butterfly, you kill it. Just trust the feeling, trust the warmth, trust the peace. The soul speaks in ways the mind cannot verify. You cannot take your soul to a laboratory. You cannot prove it to a skeptic, but the heart instantly knows. It doesn't convince, it comforts, it doesn't explain. It enfolds you in clarity. In this listening, you discover the deepest truth, that you were never disconnected. This is the great cosmic joke. You have been searching for connection, for union, for yoga, for religion, but you were never apart. The soul was speaking all along. It was not waiting to speak. It was waiting for you to become quiet enough to notice. And when you hear it, your life becomes a dance. Every step, every breath, every pause becomes music perfectly in tune with existence. But what happens next? Once you start hearing this voice, where does it lead? Does it lead you away from the world into a cave in the Himalayas? Or does it lead you deeper into the marketplace? This is important because many of you are afraid that if you listen to your soul, you will lose your life. You think, if I listen to my soul, I will have to give up my job, my family, my money, and become a monk. This is the fear of the ego. The ego thinks spirit and matter are enemies. But I tell you, when you learn to listen in this way, as silence deepens and awareness expands, you begin to hear something greater than your own soul. You begin to hear the heartbeat of the whole. You realize that the voice within and the voice of existence are not two. You were never just listening. You were being listened to by life itself. When you have begun to listen, truly listen, when silence has become not an occasional visitor but a natural rhythm in your being, something incredible begins to happen. You stop living by effort and you start living by guidance. Your life, which was once filled with constant pushing and pulling, suddenly finds its own flow. You know this feeling when you are swimming in the ocean. If you fight the waves, you get exhausted. You swallow water. You panic. But if you relax, the water holds you. You no longer move through existence trying to make things happen. You simply move in harmony with what is already happening. This is the shift from living through the mind to living through the soul. The mind calculates. It has a spreadsheet. It has a pro and con list. It weighs the risks. The soul trusts. It leaps. The mind strategizes. It plays chess with life. If I do this, then he will do that, and then I will win. The soul knows. It doesn't play games. The mind reacts to life. Something happens and you react. You get angry, you get sad, you get defensive. The soul dances with it. It takes the energy and transforms it. When you live from that inner voice, every step becomes light. Every choice becomes clear, and every moment feels connected to something vast, something divine. Most people live as if life is a struggle against the current. Look at the faces of people on the subway, in the traffic. They look like they are in a war zone. They plan, they fight, they compete. They believe they must control everything or else they will drown. If I don't control my children, they will fail. If I don't control my partner, they will leave. If I don't control my employees, they will cheat. But the more they try to control life, the more life slips through their fingers. Have you noticed? The more you grip the sand, the faster it falls from your hand. The one who listens to the soul, however, doesn't fight the current. He becomes the current. He learns to float, to surrender, to trust the flow of the river. Now the mind says, but Osho, this sounds like laziness. If I just float, I will do nothing. I will be passive. No, this is not laziness. It is intelligence. It is the highest intelligence. To move with existence is not passivity. It is participation in its deepest sense. When a sailor uses the wind to move his boat, is he lazy? He is not rowing. He is not sweating. He is using the vast power of the wind to travel. He is aligned. The man who rows against the wind, he is the one who is working hard, but he is stupid. He is fighting the universe. To let go of resistance and become one with the great movement that is already carrying everything, that is mastery. When the inner and outer worlds align, life no longer feels divided. The outer becomes a reflection of the inner. Your actions begin to express your truth effortlessly. You stop pretending. How much energy do you waste pretending? Pretending to be happy when you are sad. pretending to be confident when you are afraid, pretending to like people you despise. It is exhausting. When you listen to the soul, you stop forcing. You begin to live as you are meant to live. There is no longer a gap between what you feel and what you do. The words you speak, the choices you make, the people you meet, all begin to synchronize with your inner clarity. When the outer reflects the inner, the whole of life becomes poetry. It becomes a living meditation. You are no longer managing existence. You are participating in its dance. Imagine a sailor who has learned to read the stars. He doesn't command the sea to take him somewhere. He doesn't stand on the deck and shout orders at the waves. That would be madness. The waves do not care about his ego. He simply aligns himself with the wind, adjusts his sails, and lets the vast ocean guide him. His wisdom lies not in controlling the journey, but in understanding the rhythm of the universe that moves through the tides. When you begin to live from the soul, you become like that sailor. You begin to feel the winds of existence guiding you, subtle but powerful. You may not always know where you're going, but you always know that you are being carried in the right direction. And the most beautiful part of this is how effortless life becomes. Decisions that once tortured you now unfold naturally. You no longer have to overthink or analyze. You begin to feel what is right instead of calculating it. There is a quiet certainty, a calm knowing that arises not from intellect but from being in tune. Even when storms come, and they always do not think that spiritual life is a life without storms. You are not shaken. Why? Because you let them pass through you. You understand that even the storm has its purpose. The storm clears the air. The storm tests the roots of your tree. The one who lives from the soul is not afraid of uncertainty because he knows that uncertainty is simply the language of growth. But let me tell you something deeper. We are going to go beyond even this alignment, because even alignment is not the end. There is a state beyond the sailor. There is a state beyond the compass. When you live from the voice of the soul long enough, you begin to see that there is no you listening to the soul. This is the ultimate disappearance. There is only listening itself. The voice you thought was within you reveals itself as the voice of the whole. What you called my soul is not personal. It is not yours. It is the echo of the cosmos vibrating in this small instrument called you. This is a dangerous realization for the ego. The ego wants to own the soul. It wants to say, my soul is better than your soul. But the soul has no boundaries. The wave realizes it has never been separate from the ocean. It realizes that every motion, every ripple, every rise and fall was the ocean's doing all along. Once you see this, the need for control vanishes completely. You no longer live trying to fulfill a purpose. You realize that life itself is the purpose. The divine doesn't need you to accomplish anything. It doesn't need you to build a great temple or write a bestseller. It only needs you to be a clear channel through which it can express itself. You are not the doer. You are the vessel. You are not the singer. You are the flute through which existence plays its song. When you understand this, all tension disappears. You don't push life, you allow it. You don't demand miracles, you notice that everything is already miraculous. And this openness, this vesselhood, brings us to the most delicate flower of consciousness. It brings us to the return of innocence. In the next part of our journey, I will speak to you about this innocence, not the ignorance of a fool, but the wisdom of a sage who has become a child again. We will explore how to reclaim the child that is still hiding inside you, waiting to come out and play in the sun. Stay with me. The river is widening and we are approaching the ocean. And this is where real freedom begins. You begin to live spontaneously, moment to moment, without fear of what's coming or regret for what's gone. You begin to see that everything is as it should be. Every meeting, every ending, every breath is orchestrated with perfect intelligence. When you trust this, life becomes simple. It doesn't mean it becomes easy. Do not confuse simplicity with ease. The path may be rugged, but it means that even in difficulty, there is peace. Because when you know that existence itself is moving through you, how can you be afraid? How can you feel alone? You are the movement. When a person has begun to live from the soul, when the noise has quieted and the current of existence moves through him without resistance, there arises the final flowering, the return to innocence. Now you must listen very carefully here, because the world has taught you that innocence is a weakness. The world tells you, don't be innocent, people will cheat you. But I say to you, innocence is not ignorance. This is the greatest distinction you must make. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge. A child is ignorant. He does not know that fire burns. That is dangerous. I am not asking you to be ignorant. I am asking you to be innocent. Innocence is not the absence of knowledge. It is the absence of clinging to knowledge. It is the highest intelligence. It is the wisdom of one who has seen everything, known everything, experienced the good and the bad, and yet no longer clings to any of it. He remains untouched. He remains fresh. It is the freedom of a child who plays beneath the open sky, untouched by ambition, uncorrupted by calculation. Look at a child, really look at him. He's not worrying about his pension. He's not worrying about what the neighbors think. If he's angry, whack. He screams, he cries, he turns red. And the next moment, it is gone. He is laughing at a butterfly. He carries no residue. You carry residue. You are angry at someone for what they did 10 years ago. You are still carrying that garbage. You are not innocent. You are a warehouse of old memories. To live in innocence is to live with no residue, to meet every moment as if it is the first moment. It is the simplicity of being where life is lived moment to moment without memory polluting the present, without fear distorting what is real. The mind grows older with time, but the soul never ages. The mind is a mechanism of time. It collects dust, the dust of experience, of knowledge, of comparison. I know this, I have seen that, this is better than that. The mind is a museum of dead things, and that dust hides your original radiance. It covers the mirror of your consciousness so thick that you cannot see your own face. To return to innocence is to wash yourself clean of that dust. It is to take a bath in the silence we spoke of. The soul is simple, the mind complicates. Have you noticed? Give a simple problem to the mind and it will make it complex. It will write a thesis on it. It will create a philosophy around it. It loves knots. It loves to tie knots and then try to untie them. It feels important when it is solving a puzzle. But the soul is simple. It cuts the knot with one stroke of awareness. The soul moves in wonder. The mind moves in worry. The soul trusts existence. The mind suspects it. The soul says yes. The mind says no. Somewhere along the way, you stopped saying yes to life. You started demanding explanations. You began to ask for guarantees. You wanted everything certain, everything under your control, and certainty killed wonder. You see a flower now, and you say, that is a rose. Rosa Damascena. It grows in this soil. It needs this much water. You have classified it. You have named it. And because you have named it, you have stopped seeing it. You think you know it. But the child sees the flower and he has no name for it. He just sees the color. He smells the fragrance. He touches the velvet softness. He is in communion with the flower. He is in a state of wonder. I want you to reclaim that wonder. I want you to look at your wife, your husband, your children, as if you have never seen them before. Forget their names. Forget their history. Just look at the being in front of you. You will be surprised. You will fall in love again. Familiarity breeds contempt, but innocence breeds love. Control destroyed spontaneity. The child in you, the one who could laugh for no reason, the one who could dance just because the wind was blowing, was silenced by fear and expectation. Sit still, they told you. Don't laugh so loud, they told you. Act your age, they told you, and you obeyed. You became a good citizen, a serious person. You became a tombstone. But the child never truly dies. It waits inside you behind all your seriousness, behind all your masks, waiting for the moment you are brave enough to be simple again. To live with innocence means to rediscover your capacity for awe. It means looking at a sunset as if it were the first time and also the last time. It means hearing the rain as if it were a sacred song meant only for you. It means laughing without needing a joke. Do you know that you can laugh without a joke? Just the sheer absurdity of existence is enough. Just the joy of breathing is enough. It means crying without shame. If tears come, let them come. Tears are not weakness. They are the overflow of life. They wash your eyes so you can see clearly again. It means loving without calculation. I will love you if you do this for me. That is business. That is prostitution. It is not love. Love is a gift, not a bargain. It means dropping the armor you've built around your heart. You think that armor protects you, but it only imprisons you. You built walls to keep out the pain, but the same walls keep out the joy. You are safe inside your fortress, yes, but you are also dead inside it. The soul does not need protection. It needs openness. The soul is invulnerable. Fire cannot burn it. Sword cannot cut it. Only the ego can be hurt. So if you are afraid of being hurt, know that it is only your ego that is afraid. Let it be hurt. Let it be shattered. It is good for the ego to be shattered. Only then can the light come in. When you open your heart like a child opens his arms to the world, existence rushes in. And in that embrace, fear dissolves, because innocence and fear cannot coexist. Fear is born of memory. You are afraid because you remember the past. Last time I opened up, I was hurt. That is memory speaking. But innocence lives only in the now. In the now, there is no memory, so there can be no fear. The mind is obsessed with knowing. I must know what will happen tomorrow. But innocence is content with not knowing. This is a very high state, the state of not knowing. In Zen, they call it the beginner's mind. When you think you know, you are closed. When you know that you do not know, you are open, you are alert, you are listening. The mind says, I must understand before I can trust. Innocence says, I trust, and through trust, understanding comes. This is the reversal, the great turning of the inner tide. When you drop the burden of trying to figure everything out, you discover something extraordinary. Existence starts taking care of you. You begin to see that life doesn't need your constant interference. The river knows how to reach the sea. The flower knows when to bloom. Your body knows how to breathe, how to digest food, how to heal a wound. You don't have to command your heart to beat, it beats. You were meant to move with that same effortless grace. Innocence is not passivity. It is alignment with the intelligence that is already guiding everything. And when you live this way, everything becomes light. The heaviness of ambition fades. The tension of desire melts. You still work. You chop wood. You carry water. You go to the office. But there is play in your work. You are not dragging yourself. You are dancing through it. You are not working for the result. You are enjoying the action itself. You love, but there is freedom in your love. You do not clutch the other person's throat. You give them space to breathe. You realize that love is like a bird. If you hold it too tight, you crush it. If you open your hand, it stays. You speak, but there is silence in your words. Your words come from a deep reservoir of peace, so they bring peace to others. You become a paradox itself, fully alive, yet utterly at peace. The ego cannot understand this, because the ego thrives on struggle. It needs conflict to feel real. It creates enemies just to have something to fight. But the soul lives in harmony. Innocence is harmony. It is not the denial of the world, but the acceptance of it. The realization that nothing is wrong, that everything is as it must be. Let me give you an image. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Imagine a child chasing butterflies in a meadow. He is completely lost in the moment. He is not running to catch them, to put them in a jar. He is not thinking of selling them. He is not analyzing their aerodynamic properties. He is just running because their flight fills him with joy. The colors, the movement, the sunlight, it is all one symphony to him. If the butterfly lands on his hand, he is delighted. If it flies away, he is delighted. He is playful. That is how life feels when you live with innocence. You no longer chase experiences to possess them. You don't say, I must capture this moment and put it on Instagram so everyone knows I am happy. No, you live the moment. You move with them, dance with them, celebrate them. And when they pass, and they will pass, everything passes, you let them go. You do not weep for the sunset that has vanished. You wait for the stars to appear. The butterflies of life are not meant to be caught. They are meant to be danced with. You must unlearn everything that has made you old. Not old in age. I have seen young people who are ancient in their minds, heavy, serious, cynical. And I have seen old men, 80 years old, with eyes as clear as a baby's. Your seriousness is your sickness. You were born playful, and life is meant to be play. In India, we call life Lila, the divine play. God is not a serious schoolmaster. God is a dancer. The universe is not a courtroom, it is a playground. Have you noticed how, when you laugh deeply, a real belly laugh that shakes your whole body, all thought disappears? In laughter, you cannot think. You cannot worry and laugh at the same time. It is impossible. In laughter, you are pure presence. In joy, you are innocent again. That is why joy is divine. It brings you closest to your original self. A sad saint is a bad saint. A serious religious person is not religious at all. He is just sick. If your religion does not make you dance, if your spirituality does not make you laugh, throw it away. It is poison. And when you live joyfully, gratefully, open to the mystery of every breath, you are living as your soul. To remain innocent in a world full of noise and corruption is not weakness. It is strength of the highest order. Anyone can become bitter. Anyone can become cynical. It is very easy. Just look at the news, look at the politicians, look at the wars. It is the easiest thing in the world to close your heart and say, "The world is bad, I will be hard." It takes great courage to remain pure. It takes a warrior spirit to keep your heart soft when the world has tried to harden it, to see the betrayal and still trust, to see the hate and still love. Innocence is not naivety. Naivety means you don't know the world is mad. Innocence means you see the truth of the world's madness. You see the games people play. You see the masks they wear, and you still choose to love. You choose not to play the game. You choose to be real. The child in you is the last temple of the divine. Protect it not with walls, but with awareness. Let your awareness guard that flame so it never goes out. And when you live like this, silence deepens. Gratitude becomes effortless. You don't have to keep a gratitude journal and force yourself to write 3 things. No, you wake up and your first breath is gratitude. The sun on your face is gratitude. The taste of your tea is gratitude. The voice of the soul no longer comes as whispers. It sings through your every action. You are no longer a seeker, you are a song. You are no longer trying to connect with your soul. You are living as your soul. Every moment becomes sacred because innocence makes everything holy. The simplest acts, drinking water, breathing air, touching the hand of another, become filled with grace. When innocence returns, silence deepens, and the soul becomes a lifelong companion, not a distant echo. You walk through life not searching for meaning, but radiating it. You no longer ask, "What is my purpose?" This is a question of the mind. The flower does not ask for its purpose. The star does not ask for its purpose. They just are. And in their being, they fulfill their purpose. Your being itself has become the answer. And when that happens, you will laugh, not a small, polite laughter, but the laughter of the whole universe moving through you. You will laugh at your own seriousness. You will laugh at how long you searched for something that was always in your pocket. You have remembered what you always were, a child of existence, eternally young, eternally free. And so when you have begun to sense the quiet whisper of your soul, when you have felt its presence moving beneath the noise of your thoughts, you enter the most sacred journey of all, the return to your own inner silence. But here I must give you a warning. There is a trap that many fall into right at this stage. They begin to think, "Okay, I am listening, I am innocent. Now I can stop." No. The listening must deepen, because the soul has layers. You have heard the surface whispers, but have you heard the deep roar of the silence? There is a difference between the quiet of a room and the quiet of the vast sky. You have tasted the room. Now I want to take you to the sky. But remember this, hearing your soul is not an act of effort. It is an act of surrender. It is not something to be achieved like a gold medal in the Olympics. It is something to be allowed. The mind wants to do. It is a doer. What should I do next? How many hours should I meditate? But the soul wants to be. The mind speaks loudly in arguments and explanations. It loves debate, but the soul speaks softly in silence and in feeling. And unless you become still enough to hear, you will continue mistaking the mind's chaos for your own truth. The whole world is full of noise. Everyone is speaking. Have you noticed? Everyone wants to say something. Everyone wants to post something. Everyone has an opinion, but few are listening. People talk about their pain. their dreams, their fears, but they rarely listen. They are just waiting for their turn to speak. They are preparing their next sentence while you are talking. They are not listening to others. They are not listening to life. And worst of all, they are not listening to themselves. Listening has become a lost art. But your soul speaks in the language of listening. It reveals itself only when you are quiet enough to receive. When you stop interrupting with your opinions, your memories, your expectations, something extraordinary begins to happen. A space opens, a gap. That space is where the divine voice speaks, not in words but in vibrations of presence. If you listen carefully, you'll notice your soul never shouts, it never demands, it simply waits. It will never compete with your mind because it knows that truth doesn't need to argue, lies need to scream, truth can whisper. It knows that when the storm of thoughts finally tires itself out, and it will tire itself out, its voice will be the only thing left. That is why silence feels so intimidating to many people, because silence begins to reveal everything they have been avoiding. In the quiet, there is no escape. You cannot hide behind your busyness. You cannot hide behind your job title. All your suppressed emotions, your forgotten dreams, your unlived desires begin to rise to the surface. This is the purging. This is the cleaning of the house. This is the soul knocking on the door of your awareness, saying, I am still here. You forgot me, but I did not forget you. At first, listening to your soul will feel uncomfortable because the soul doesn't speak the language of convenience. It is not here to make you comfortable. It is here to make you real. It will tell you truths you buried. It will remind you of the love you never expressed, the apology you never gave, the art you never created. It will remind you of the purpose you never followed, the peace you keep postponing. I will be peaceful when I retire. No, says the soul, peace is now or never. It doesn't care about your social image. It doesn't care if you are the president or a beggar. It doesn't care about your plans or your ambitions. It only cares that you live authentically. And authenticity is the most radical act in a world that thrives on imitation. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. When you listen to your soul, you will begin to see that many things you were chasing were never yours. They were borrowed dreams planted by others. You wanted that big house because your father wanted it. You wanted that fame because society said it is success. But does your soul want it? The soul doesn't follow fashion. It follows truth. Listening to your soul requires courage because it may ask you to walk away from what is safe, from what is familiar. It may ask you to step off the cliff, trusting that you will grow wings on the way down. It may ask you to let go of relationships that no longer serve your growth, relationships that are just habits, just mutual dependencies. It may ask you to leave jobs that suffocate your joy. It may ask you to release identities that have kept you small. The soul speaks not to comfort you, but to awaken you. It whispers not what you want to hear. The ego loves to hear sweet lies, but what you need to hear. And if you follow that voice, if you trust it, you will begin to live a life that feels light, natural, effortless, because you will be aligned with your own essence. But how does this alignment feel in the body? How does it manifest in your relationships? In the next part of this talk, we will explore the physical sensation of truth. We will look at how pain is actually a messenger and how your body is the antenna for the soul. and we will discover how love transforms when it comes from this space of deep listening. If you are feeling the stirring of your own innocence, if you remember the child you once were, I ask you to share a simple yes in the comments. Let that yes be your agreement with life. Stay with me. We are going to look at pain, at love, and at the ultimate union. When you listen deeply, you begin to notice that the soul doesn't only speak in words. In fact, words are its last resort. It prefers to speak in sensations, in synchronicities, in intuition. It speaks through the sudden warmth in your chest when you are on the right path. It speaks through the tightness in your stomach when you are betraying yourself. It speaks through dreams that linger in your mind long after you wake up. It speaks through the way your body feels when something is right or wrong, an immediate biological yes or no that bypasses the brain entirely. But there is a language of the soul that most of you reject. You run from it. You take pills to silence it. You drink alcohol to drown it. That language is pain. Sometimes the soul speaks through pain because pain is the soul's way of showing where you have strayed from your path. Please understand this, because it can change your entire relationship with suffering. Pain is not punishment. Existence is not punishing you. God is not a sadist sitting on a cloud with a stick. Pain is communication. It is a signal from your deeper self saying, you are not living your truth. You are in the wrong place. You are with the wrong person. You are hurting yourself. When you put your hand in fire, it hurts. Is the fire punishing you? No. The pain is a friend. The pain is saying, move your hand or you will be destroyed. It is a protective mechanism. Emotional pain is the same. When you feel deep misery, deep anxiety, deep hollowness, it is your soul screaming, wake up, you are walking off the cliff. But what do? You go to the doctor. You say, doctor, I am anxious. Give me something to make it go away. You numb the messenger. And because you kill the messenger, you miss the message. So you keep your hand in the fire and you wonder why you are burning. The moment you stop resisting pain and start listening to it, it begins to transform into understanding. Next time you feel sadness, don't rush to fix it. Don't rush to call a friend and gossip to distract yourself. Close your door. Sit with the sadness. Ask it, what are you here to tell me? What have I neglected? What lie am I living? If you listen with love, the pain will reveal its secret. It will give you the key to your own freedom. And once the message is delivered, the pain evaporates. It has done its work. This is the alchemy of listening. You turn the poison of suffering into the medicine of wisdom. And as you master this art of listening to yourself, to your joy, to your pain, to your silence, your relationship with the outer world transforms. Specifically, your understanding of love undergoes a revolution. The soul speaks through love, but not the love you see in the movies, not the possessive, jealous, clinging love of the ego. That is not love, that is hunger, that is mutual exploitation. The soul speaks of the vast, unconditional love that connects all things. When you are disconnected from your soul, you feel empty. So you go to another person and you say, fill me, make me happy, give me meaning. And the other person is also empty, and they are looking at you saying, no, you fill me. Two beggars begging from each other. This leads to conflict, to misery, to divorce. But when you listen to your soul, you feel full. You feel a sudden wave of compassion for a stranger. you are moved by beauty for no reason. You look at a tree and you don't just see wood, you feel a friendship. You look at a stray dog and you don't feel pity, you feel kinship. That is your soul reminding you that you are not separate. It's saying, remember, you belong to this vast web of life. That recognition brings tears because it feels like coming home. You realize you have been an orphan only in your mind. In reality, existence has always been holding you. Every time you listen with your heart instead of your mind, you are hearing your soul. And this love is not a relationship, it is a state of being. You don't fall in love, you rise in love. You become love. You radiate it like a lamp radiates light. The lamp does not care who sees the light. If a sinner walks by, the lamp shines. If a saint walks by, the lamp shines. It has no preference. When you live from the soul, you have no preference. You love because to love is to breathe. And sometimes the soul speaks most clearly through silence, in moments when words disappear and only presence remains. When you are simply aware without judgment or thought, that is when you are closest to your own source. That silence is not empty, it is alive, it is full of intelligence, guidance, love. I want you to sit with that silence often. Let it fill you, let it teach you, because the more you listen, the more you will realize that the voice of your soul is not separate from the voice of existence itself. This is the great secret. At the beginning you think, I am listening to my soul, but as you go deeper, the my drops, the possessiveness drops. You realize there is only the soul, the universal soul, the Atman, the Tao. Most people pray to God with words. They talk at God. Oh, God, give me this. God, do that. God, why did you do this? They treat God like a complaint department. But the soul prays with listening. In deep listening, you don't speak to existence. You allow existence to speak through you. You stop trying to control the conversation. You stop giving God advice on how to run the universe. You simply become the space where truth can echo. Listening is not passive, it is receptive power. It is the highest form of meditation. So I say to you, begin to practice listening not just to your own inner voice, but to life itself. Listen to the pauses between the notes in music. Don't just hear the melody, hear the canvas of silence on which the melody is painted. Listen to the silence between words. When I speak to you now, do not just focus on the sound. Focus on the gaps. The gaps are where the truth enters. Listen to the rhythm of your own breath. It is the oldest mantra. Soham. Soham. It has been chanting since you were born. Listen to the wind passing through the trees. Listen to the rain touching the earth. Listen without trying to interpret, without trying to analyze. Don't say, oh, that is a crow calling. Just hear the sound. Let it vibrate in your eardrum. Let it reach your center. Because when you truly listen, you dissolve the boundary between the listener and the listened to. You become one with what you hear. That is the secret of the mystic. He listens so deeply that there is no one left to listen. Only awareness remains. The ego is a wall. Listening is a door. When you listen, the wall disappears. Your soul has been speaking to you since the moment you were born. It has spoken in every sigh of satisfaction. It has spoken in every longing that pulls you toward the stars. It has spoken in every quiet intuition that said, there is more to life than this. There is more than just eating, sleeping, and working. You have felt it, haven't you? That pull, that hunger for something you cannot name, that hunger is your soul calling you. Stop silencing it with distractions. Stop doubting it with fear. Stop filling the void with cheap entertainment. Sit quietly, breathe, and ask it to speak again. Then do the hardest and most beautiful thing of all. Listen. Just listen. If nothing comes, listen to the nothing. If chaos comes, listen to the chaos. Whatever comes, welcome it. Because when you learn to listen to your soul, you no longer need anyone else to tell you who you are or where to go. You will know, not as a thought. Thoughts are cheap, thoughts are borrowed, but as a living truth vibrating in your very being. You will have an internal compass that never fails. And once you start living from that knowing, every step you take will feel guided, every moment will feel meaningful, and every silence will feel sacred. There comes a moment, once you have learned to listen deeply, when the voice of your soul no longer feels distant or fragile. It becomes your compass. It becomes the guiding rhythm of your entire being. You no longer need to seek direction outside of yourself because the path begins to rise naturally from within. Imagine walking in a thick fog. You cannot see the road. You cannot see the destination. If you use your mind, you will panic, you will freeze. But if you use your soul, you take one step, just one. And as you take that step, the fog clears just enough for the next step. Every step you take feels as though it has been whispered into your heart before your foot even moves. This is what it means to live guided, not by the fear-driven logic of the mind, but by the soft authority of the soul. Notice the word authority. It comes from author. You become the author of your own life. Until now, society has been writing your book. Your parents wrote the first chapter. Your teachers wrote the second. Your boss is writing the third. It is time to snatch the pen back. When the soul becomes your compass, your life begins to lose its old heaviness. Decisions no longer feel like battles. You know the torture of indecision. Should I marry him or not? Should I take this job or that one? You make lists. You ask friends. You toss a coin. You lose sleep. Why is it so hard? Because the mind has no way of knowing the future. The mind is guessing, and because it is guessing, it is afraid of being wrong. But the soul is not guessing. The soul sees. The constant anxiety of what if fades because you start to realize that you can never take a wrong turn when you're moving with awareness. Even if you go down a path that leads to a dead end, the soul says, "Good. Now we know this is a dead end. We learned something. Now we turn back." There is no regret. Even when you wander off, even when you stumble, the soul uses those detours to bring you back. Nothing is wasted. Not a failure, not a heartbreak, not even a mistake. Everything becomes a message. Everything becomes part of the unfolding. The universe stops feeling like a maze and starts feeling like a melody, and your soul knows the tune by heart. Before we reach the final crescendo of this understanding, I want to invite you to do something very small but very significant. If you have been listening, really listening, you might feel a shift in your energy right now, a softening. I want you to take that energy and share it. Click the share button. Send this to someone who is lost in the noise. Send this to someone who is in pain. Be a channel for this message. By sharing, you are not just helping the algorithm, you are helping a soul wake up. You become a part of the chain of awakening. Now understand that this harmony can only arise in those who trust. Trust is the bridge between your mind and your soul. Without trust, the bridge is broken. The mind stands on one bank, screaming for proof. The soul stands on the other bank, offering flowers they cannot meet. The mind wants proof. The soul wants participation. The mind says, "Show me the way, then I'll walk." The soul says, "Walk, and the way will appear." Do you see the difference? The mind wants the guarantee before the action. It is a coward. It wants insurance. But life gives no insurance. Life is a risk. Love is a risk. Truth is a risk. The mind demands certainty. The soul thrives in mystery. If you demand certainty, you will remain stuck. You will remain in the known, and the known is the dead. The unknown is where life is. And yet, once you begin to trust that inner voice, you'll see that existence itself begins to move in your favor. Events align, people appear, opportunities flow. It's as if life has been waiting for you to surrender your resistance so it can finally show its love. This is what Jung called synchronicity. It is when the inner world and the outer world clap hands. Suddenly you are thinking of a friend and they call. You need a book and it falls off the shelf. You need money and it arrives from an unexpected source. The mind calls this luck. The mystic calls it alignment. Trusting your soul does not mean you will never experience challenges. In fact, life may become more raw, more intense, more unpredictable. Do not think that spiritual life is a bed of roses. It is a fire. It burns away everything that is false. But you will meet everything with a calmness that defies logic, because you will sense that even the storms are part of the symphony. When you trust, fear loses its power. You stop living in reaction to life and begin living in relationship with it. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You become a conscious participant in the divine dance. People often ask me, how can I know if it's my soul speaking or my mind pretending? I gave you the answer before, but I will give it again because you will forget. The mind forgets. It is its nature. The answer is simple. The mind's voice is loud, anxious, urgent. It wants results. It needs guarantees and it feeds on fear. The soul's voice is quiet, calm, and compassionate. It never rushes you, it never forces you, it speaks once and then it waits. It doesn't insist, it invites. And when you follow it, it feels light. Even if it leads you into the unknown, there is a strange peace, a sense of rightness, as if the universe is walking beside you. That feeling is the language of truth. When the soul becomes your compass, your relationships also change. This is inevitable. You cannot change on the inside and have your outside remain the same. You stop needing others to complete you because you no longer feel incomplete. This is the greatest misery of human love, dependency. I cannot live without you. This sounds romantic in poetry, but in reality it is slavery. If you cannot live without the other, you will hate the other. You will try to control them because you are afraid they will leave. But when you are full of your own soul, you begin to love people without wanting to possess them. You can be close without being entangled, supportive without being dependent, because your love no longer comes from emptiness. It comes from fullness. You no longer say, I love you because I need you. You say, I love you because I am love. And that kind of love liberates everyone it touches. It asks for nothing, but it gives everything. And something even greater happens. You begin to see that the voice of your soul is not separate from the voice of life itself. You realize that what you once called my soul is the same energy that moves the stars, the same intelligence that blossoms the flowers, the same mystery that breathes through every creature. You are not just guided by existence, you are existence guiding itself. The drop realizes it is the ocean. The dancer realizes he is also the dance. The listener realizes that what he hears is also what he is. This is the final revelation, that the soul and life are one. And to follow your soul is to follow the pulse of the cosmos. When you live this way, you no longer walk with fear, you walk with wonder. You move through the world like a child who knows he is cared for, who trusts that every step, even the uncertain ones, are part of something sacred. You begin to smile more, to breathe deeper, to speak less, and feel more. You discover a wisdom that doesn't come from books, a peace that doesn't come from possessions, and a joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. You are no longer searching for your place in existence. You are finally at home within it. And this is the beauty of listening to your soul. It brings you back to yourself, and in that return you find the divine. When you live from that place, even the most ordinary moments shine with meaning. Drinking tea becomes meditation. A conversation becomes communion. Silence becomes music. You realize that every experience, no matter how simple, is an expression of the infinite. You no longer need to escape life to feel spiritual. You see that life itself is the temple and your awareness is the prayer. When the soul becomes your compass, your life becomes effortless. Not because everything goes as planned, plans are for the mind, but because you stop needing it to. You flow with existence instead of against it. You begin to see that every moment, whether joyful or painful, is exactly what you need for your growth. And that realization brings an unshakable peace, the peace of being one with all that is. So listen deeply, trust completely, follow fearlessly. Your soul has been calling you home, not to a place but to yourself. And the more you listen, the less you will need to ask, where am I going? Because you will already be there. You will already be home in the stillness of your own being, where life is no longer a question to answer but a mystery to live. But the journey is not quite over. There is one final stage, a stage where even the voice of the soul fades away and something else takes its place, something so vast, so silent that words cannot hold it. In the final part of this talk, I will take you to the very edge of silence, to the place where the listener disappears completely. Stay with me. We are about to enter the Holy of Holies. There comes a point, once the voice of the soul has become clear and the compass of your being steady, when even that voice begins to fade. Do not be alarmed when this happens. It does not mean you have lost the connection. It means you have become the connection. It fades not because it has gone silent, but because it no longer needs to speak. You have heard it so deeply that it becomes your heartbeat. Listening and living merge. The seeker disappears, and only awareness remains. This is the silence beyond the soul. This is where you no longer listen to something within, because you have become that which you were listening to. In the beginning, the soul felt separate, like a gentle guide whispering through the noise of your thoughts. You could sense its distance, its difference. You said, I am here and my soul is there, guiding me. There was a duality, there was a relationship. But as your listening deepens, as your awareness expands, you begin to see that the soul was never apart. It was existence itself, speaking in your own language. The line between inner and outer dissolves. The wall between me and the universe crumbles. You realize that every sound, every silence, every face, every breeze, every heartbeat is the same energy. It is the same presence expressing itself in infinite forms. When you listen from this place, you are not a person listening to life. You are life listening to itself. This is the ultimate listening. It is so complete that even the listener disappears. The mind cannot understand this because the mind only knows separation. The mind needs boundaries. It needs a subject and an object. It says, "There is me, and there is the thing I am listening to." But awareness has no division. Awareness is one movement, one being, one endless silence that vibrates with the hum of creation. In that space, you don't hear a message. You become the message. You don't look for signs. You are the sign. You don't seek understanding. You are understanding itself. And this is where love reaches its highest expression. Not love as emotion. Emotions come and go like weather. Not love as longing. Longing implies absence. But love as being, because when you see that everything is one, how can you not love? There is no other left to fear or hate. Who are you going to hate? It is all you. When you touch a flower, you are touching yourself. When you breathe the air, you are breathing your own essence. When you look into another's eyes, you are looking into the same infinity that looks back from your own. The realization of oneness turns existence into a continuous embrace. You cannot harm anyone because there is no one outside of you. To harm another is to harm your own leg, your own hand. It would be madness. You cannot compete because there is no one to win or lose against. You cannot feel lonely because you are surrounded by your own vastness. This is the state of the awakened soul, where listening becomes silence and silence becomes love. It is not something to be practiced. You cannot practice oneness. Who would practice it? The ego? The ego cannot practice its own death. It happens naturally when you stop interfering. When the river stops struggling to reach the ocean, it discovers that it was already part of it. The river is the ocean, extending its arm into the land. In the same way, when you stop trying to become spiritual, you discover that you were never anything else. You were never material. Even your body is made of stardust. Even your bones are made of light. The soul's voice was never separate from existence. It was existence calling you home. Once this truth settles in your being, life becomes infinitely simple. You no longer seek meaning, you are meaning. You no longer look for purpose, you are purpose. You no longer try to find peace, you are peace. Everything you are trying to achieve through effort blossoms effortlessly through awareness. You begin to live with a quiet grace, a deep contentment that has no reason. The world asks, "Why are you smiling? Did you win the lottery?" And you smile more because you have won something far greater than money. You have won yourself. Even in chaos, there is calm. The market is noisy, the world is fighting, but in your center, the temple bell is ringing in absolute stillness. Even in pain, there is a pulse of beauty. You see the fragility of life, and it makes every moment precious. Even in death, there is continuity, because you know that you are not the body that dies. You are the awareness that watches the death, because nothing that is real can be lost. When listening becomes being, the whole world transforms. You start to see that the same consciousness that beats in your heart also moves the galaxies. You feel an intimacy with existence that no human relationship can equal. You no longer need belief. Belief is for the blind. You have eyes now. You have direct knowing. You no longer seek God because you realize you and God were never two. You were the prayer and the answer all along. And yet, and this is the most beautiful part, the beauty of this realization is its ordinariness. You do not grow wings. You do not float on a cloud. You do not start glowing with a golden halo. You still walk. You still talk. You still laugh. You still work. You still cook food. You still pay your taxes. But now, everything carries a new fragrance. Washing dishes becomes as sacred as meditation. The water, the soap, the plate, your hands. It is a divine dance. There is no hurry to finish the dishes, to go do something spiritual. The act itself is the prayer. Sitting with a friend becomes as holy as prayer. Listening to the rain becomes a scripture. There is no hierarchy between the spiritual and the ordinary, because now everything is spiritual. The divine is not somewhere else. It is not in the temple, not in the church, not in the mosque. It is in the folds of every moment. It is in the breath that rises and falls. It is in the quiet awareness that watches everything come and go. To reach this space, you must not strive. Striving pushes it away. You must surrender. The ego climbs toward enlightenment. It wants to conquer the peak. It wants to plant a flag. The soul simply falls into it. It relaxes. It lets go. It happens not through effort, but through openness. Not by becoming something new, but by dissolving everything that is false. You do not need to learn how to be divine. You are already divine. You only need to unlearn how to be divided. So let this be your understanding. Your soul is not speaking to you anymore because it has nothing left to say. You have heard it fully, and in that hearing, you have become it. The journey of listening is complete. And what remains is silence, alive, vibrant, eternal. This silence is not the end, it is the beginning of real life. From here, you live without questions, you live without fear, you live without doubt, you live as pure awareness, awake in every breath. Now I want to speak to you directly, heart to heart, one last time in this gathering. We have traveled a long way together in this talk. We started with the noise of the mind. We walked through the gateway of silence. We reclaimed our innocence. We understood pain. We found alignment. And now we stand at the edge of the ocean. I have given you the map, but a map is not the territory. You cannot eat the menu. You have to eat the food. Do not let these words just remain words in your memory. The mind loves to collect wise words. It will store this talk in the spiritual folder of your brain and forget it. Do not let that happen. Make this a living experiment. I challenge you, not for a year, not for a month, just for the next 24 hours. Make a commitment to listen. When you wake up tomorrow, listen to the morning. When you eat, listen to the taste. When you walk, listen to your feet touching the earth. When someone speaks to you, listen to their soul, not just their words. And mostly, listen to the silence between your thoughts. If you are ready to take this challenge, if you are ready to experiment with your own life, I want you to make a mark. Go to the comment section and write, "I am listening." Let these 3 words be your mantra. Let them be your declaration to the universe that you are no longer asleep. And if you have found a spark of truth in this talk, if something in you has stirred, then do not lose this connection. Join this community. Subscribe to this channel. We are building a field of energy here, a field of awareness. Every person who joins adds to the silence, adds to the depth. When you subscribe, you are not just clicking a button. You are saying yes to a life of consciousness. You are saying yes to your own soul. Share this video with those you love, and even with those you struggle with, perhaps especially with them, because if they learn to listen, your struggle will end. The world needs more listeners. The world is dying from a lack of listening. Be the one who listens. Stay here in this silence. Do not rush to fill it. Do not rush to click on the next video. Let it deepen. Let it teach you what no words can, because the one who listens and the one who speaks have become one. And in that oneness, there is nothing more to seek. There is only the infinite echo of existence dancing in its own glory. You are home. You have always been home. Now just be.